Hey, how you doing? Let's do it to it. Okay, we're gonna go over a game I recently played. Okay, I was black, my opponent was white, and so he played A. He played E4. I played E6, and then D4. This is the French defense, and there's a couple lines that can happen. You can play the advanced variation here, here, and then this is the main line of the advanced right here. Okay, if you don't want to go down that route, let's say instead they play here. You could play bishop there, push here, c4 here, and then book is you take, pawn takes, and then knight to c3. This is the winner. Excuse me. This is the winner. Then there's a Tarrasch that could be potentially played. This is an interesting idea. And then what you can play at this point is C, and it's kind of different, to say the least. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out. I think this is book. Let me see. Best. That's the book move. Takes. Takes, and then takes, and then takes. And white has acquired left black with an isolated pawn, so that's kind of, but it's a centralized pawn, so that's a line. And if this gets played, then you have the classic variation. You can play this here. That wins that gambit's a pawn. So we'll just see how I played. Okay. So that's just some lines, some fun lines to go over. E takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d3. There's a couple ideas. You can play this move here right away if you wanted to. After knight moves, knight there, and then if castles, yeah, bishop, rook, and you take, he takes, and then you castle. And it's really an interesting position because you have knight here, and then you have pressure. You have this. You have an isolated pawn, so you're going to want to develop, and potentially you wouldn't really want to take. So you just got to start developing around the isolated pawn. So that's why I didn't do that. Knight f6 is actually the best move. If your opponent had played c3, then the best move I'm thinking c6 is actually a book move. And then if knight takes, you both have isolated pawns. Black has a freer position, and then you have stuff like that, and it's just winning. Really good for black. So bishop d6, d3, bishop d3, knight f6 is good because what you're going to want to do is keep up with white with their developmental play. They play bishop d f4, which this isn't the best move. It's a good move, but it's not the best move. Our move isn't the best move either, but it is a playable move because this activates, this gets rid of a dark squared bishop. And so what they're saying is this move actually is more correct because you're going for the center. If they take, then your bishop takes, and now you have activity with moves like this. Excuse me. Knight c6, bishop g4. So bishop d6, bishop takes, queen takes is best. Not pawn takes, because of course you see if pawn takes, these double pawns aren't really going anywhere. It's nothing good for you. So the best move is actually queen takes. Knight f3, knight f6 is actually best here. There's a line where you could play bishop g4. This is an interesting line that you could play, and then after castles, then you castle. And then rook comes, and then you have queen. And it's just this type of an attack that black can build up. I castled, which actually book-wise is best. But you also, if you kind of wanted to go a little more attacky, you could always do this move too. This is an okay move, not the best one though. It's just if you want to spice up the game a little bit, that kind of puts a little bit of tickling on white's king. But king's safety when you have such a symmetrical position is actually the best. So who can get their king safest, and we both castle. So now it's going to be who can beat down the gates of this, actually, as if there's a moat around it, which I always consider the pawns moats. If you can dig up the moat and allow your troops to march under the gate, then more power to you. That's kind of what we first play. Because I castled first than my opponent, I now have the initiative. And the initiative is bishop to g4. This puts the question to white right away. You're gonna have to do something. So white wants to actually play knight to c3 here. This would be what white would want to play, because of course it eyeballs the pawn on d5. But they really can't do that, because what they'd have to do is they'd have to then undevelop a piece with bishop to e2 if they wanted to do that. Because I would play after knight to c3, I'd play bishop queen f4, and then they'd have to drop the bishop back to e2. And at that point, you could then develop a rook, develop a knight, develop in here, and then come on in via that way. So it's a lot of potential. White actually played the best move in this line. This is actually the optimum move here, because it does a couple things. First of all, it develops the knight. Second of all, it makes it so the bishop doesn't have to undevelop by going back to e2. It would look tempting to play this, but it's not the best move, because after queen here, then a bishop there, and now you in theory can play rook here. And if rook here, you actually have knight to e4, and this is pretty strong. If knight takes, retreats back. Then you can just basically jam the pawn up the board. And then if bishop were to take, that's a mistake. So you'd probably have to take first. Rook would take, and then you could jam the pawn up the board. And so white's a little more developed. So knight bd2. Let me get a sip really quick of knight. Bishop takes knight was what I was thinking here, but knight takes knight. And then c6, and you have a pretty equal game. So the first inaccurate move is there. G3 is best. Rook takes. Rook takes. So they're saying that this still is best. Then after takes. Knight takes. Knight takes. Knight e2, f, and then you're going to try to start maneuvering your pieces in. But I really didn't want to go for such a passive position, so I just went for, I took there, he retreated back, and then I brought my knight to f8, because the idea is I want to, if I can, either get my knight here or here into one of these two spots. Knight e, best. Knight g5, that's the best. And then queen a4, or this was actually, in my opinion, this was the losing move here, because when your king's getting attacked by 4 pieces, you never want to have a lone warrior such as the powerful queen just galloping around the countryside when basically the castle's being bombarded. You want to keep the queen tight next to the king and fortify the position. And it's never fun as white to basically want to defend, because white's usually the one who's the aggressor because they get the first move. But you have to sometimes know when to hold for a second and then attack later. And so, like what they were saying, this surprisingly this move's actually stronger. And then the knight would come in here, check. The king comes up. Queen takes f2. King takes h3. Let's try to figure out what's actually best here. Probably queen to g1. Still better for, that was the move, and then yeah, we took the knight. Queen takes the pawn, mistake. Knight f e2. Bishop takes is best. Knight takes is best. Queen takes. Rook check. Queen check was best. I was thinking that potentially he would check on a8, but he went, and that actually, yeah. And then now I took here. The best is taking f2. Queen at h1, or king h1. Knight g3 is best. We're setting up for, and that was the best. It's forced. Knight to e2 is actually an excellent move. So that's even better. It's a better move than a good move, the best move. Basically, that would get an exclam. The best move is good, but an excellent move is an exclam. So this is actually considered an exclam move. That's why it's blue. And so he goes H. This is a mate. I'm not sure really. I think the best that I was looking at, what the best white had was actually this move here. Queen C1 check. Then my mouse is a little sticky. King H7 forced. I don't know why my mouse is so sticky. Let me turn it off and on. Much better. Much better. Forced. Then knight to F3. Which is best. I was considering bishop takes, but the problem is you potentially have perpetual here. It's 0 if you were to take. So you really can't take. I was checking this out here. And then takes there. Queen takes, then king takes. You're still winning. Then take there. And the king up. And over, and then you'd have to come in via that way. This is still winning, but why not go for a better move, right? So you'd actually at this point have to play king to king G6. And check. And then F6. And then queen takes, E2 is forced. And then takes there. Because now if something else is tried, like we'll say queen here, I know this is not the best move, then bishop kerplunks right on in. Kerplunk. And that's actually, you have to check here. And then king H7. Queen takes. You could play bishop takes. I'd probably play queen takes. I know that's not this is actually a better move. Exclam. Because then if the king comes up, you have check. And then if the king comes this way, you actually have another exclam idea. This is another excellent move. So we have back-to-back exclams. King coming there. And then now you can actually potentially almost trap the king. This is a really strong move as well. This is strong. Takes there. Now you can actually take with the queen. That's a good move. I'm looking for an even stronger one. I'd probably just go with that. It's forced. And now what you have is queen to C1, C8, which is actually really strong as well. Now the king is actually stuck. So he'd have to push pawn. Next move is bishop there. And then if they pushed, which is best, then mate. So now we'll go through and do a puzzle rush. Survivalist. Mate. Takes. That's mate. Not mate. What's a piece? Check. That would win a windmill. Rotates. Then after rotates, then you take there and you pick up an exchange, a whole piece. This move is after knight takes, check, and now you have mate. This picks up a rook because of the pin. Let's check, and then A8 is mate. Check, and you win the undiscovered queen, unprotected queen. Let me see here. Okay, a pin on D7, you win the queen for a rook. You play rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes knight, you win a piece, minor piece. Queen takes, knight takes, and then you win there. Win a minor piece again. Just check. You come back, and you win a whole rook. This picks up a bishop with check. This is a back rake mate. I should play there check. You come there check to remove the pawn, and then that's mate. Okay, we have to check with white. Let's see here. Bishop checks. Check. Queen comes to yeah, there wins queen if it takes. Check, check, smother, mate. That actually picks a piece up and a pawn. Queen takes, pawn takes, you win a rook, so there is no checkmating. Yeah. You attack the queen, you take there and you win. So check, that's checkmate. So you can actually check. Okay. Check. Checkmate. Ah, bishop takes knight. And then knight comes in and you win the bishop. Beautiful. I think we'll call it on this here. Finish this here. So, okay. Alright. Beautiful. Alright. Want to thank you for all logging on and participating. This is was interesting. We got to go over a game, so that was fun, and we got to learn a little bit. Remember, always take what you know, be able to apply it, be willing to do something with it, and remember, a message of salvation to receive Jesus, Lord and Savior of your life, is vital, important. Eternity is forever, and we can't even comprehend how long that is. So just keep that in your forefront.